And welcome to the Marcus and Mike Show. I am Mike. My man over here to the left is Marcus. Marcus, how you doing on this draft day?
Man, it's like another Christmas for me, man. Like I told you before, the NFL draft is bigger than the NBA draft. But man, the NBA draft is exciting. My team, the San Antonio Spurs, have the 19th and 29th picks. I hear they can move up, take 29 and 19, move up to maybe 14. Boston's pick, maybe 13. Miami may want 2 first rounders if the guy that they're not there is the guy that they not want is not there, so they'll move back and take 2 first rounders, people that can rebuild. But yeah, it's exciting. Even if the Spurs stand pat and take the 19 to 29 pick, they'll get some really good players. This is not a top-heavy draft, but it's a good draft with good depth.
Yeah, just to add to your point there, before we get into the draft and the second segment of today's show, there's been a lot of trades and like a lot of mix-up that is happening, and I'm kind of curious if this James Harden CP3 thing is going to shake up the draft as well. Are the Houston Rockets going to get rid of James Harden? Are they going to get rid of CP3? Are they going to blow up the team? Two weeks ago when they lost, or I guess about a month ago now, when the Rockets lost to Golden State, we talked about, are they going to blow up the roster and they're going to rebuild? And we all kind of said no, just it is a coaching issue. Yada yada yada. Now this James Harden and CP3 thing is starting to come to surface. Winning usually hushes all that stuff, but when you get knocked out two years in a row and you're owed like $100 million or something like that, stuff starts to happen. So what are your thoughts on this James Harden CP3 thing that's happening?
Well, just like a couple weeks ago when we talked about it, they shouldn't blow it up, man. You got to stand pat. And now they really need to stand pat because what happened to Golden State? Golden State's going to not have Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant for most of the year. So Houston ought to be able to get, a decent record, get in the playoffs. The situation here, it just depends on how much CP3 and James Harden can coexist. They'll never trade James Harden. So if they really can't coexist, they'll find a place for CP3. Memphis just found a place for Mike Conley Jr. So CP3, probably makes about $8 million more or something like that. I mean, it's still kind of hard to move a guy like that to making that much money, and he's on the way downside of his career. Chris Paul's like on a minute restriction, game restriction, load management, whatever you want to call it. So I don't see him being moved, but it's possible, man. If they can't get along, the last thing you want is a disgruntled locker room, and you'll have players be on James Harden's side. You might have a few players be on Chris Paul's side. That's the absolute last thing that you want. These guys need to get together, get in the rooms, figure this out, solve it, and say, hey, our nemesis Golden State is not there. We can win the West. And now if Kawhi signs with Toronto and it's Toronto and everybody's healthy, Toronto will sweep Houston. They might get a game, they might one game get 33s, but it'll be a 5-game sweep. So they're not in Toronto's class, but hey, you can come out the West maybe. But I don't see that happening either because Portland will get Nurkic back and Denver's going to be Denver. I just don't see Houston beating those teams, but just by relying on three-pointers. I don't like D'Antoni's system, but hey, they've been the second best team in the West seems like the past couple of years. I mean, they did take the Warriors to 6 games and Portland took them to 4 games. How's that? So if I was Houston, I would just stand pat, and if I was Daryl Morey, I'd get Chris Paul and James Harden in the room and see if we can't figure this out. Now, if it's irreparable, then James Harden's not going anywhere. Then CP3 would have to be moved somewhere, and it would have to be to a team with cap space and that thinks they're one player away or a really good point guard away from winning it. Then they'd have to manage CP3's minutes and maybe play like 55 games this year, and then just have him ready for the playoffs. I was thinking the Lakers could do it with LeBron, but now it looks like they only have like $24 million in cap space after the Anthony Davis trade. So that's probably not a good landing spot unless they clear everybody. Everybody besides Davis and LeBron, that's not a good landing spot for CP3. So I don't think there's going to be any takers for Chris Paul. So they better stand pat and they better just make it work in this Western Conference next year. That's going to be wide open without Klay Thompson and Kevin Durant. They better just chill.
Yeah, you make great points there. And just to add to your point there about the 80 thing to LA, I was hearing reading some stuff on the old Twitter machine there, and the Lakers are willing to throw in Kyle Kuzma into that trade if the Pelicans wait till after that July 3rd date to where the Lakers could sign 2 max player contracts. So if that were to happen, I mean your CP3 to LA could happen, but to me that wouldn't make too much sense. Why do the Lakers want to bring on a aging quote unquote superstar that can only play 50 games in a year, can only play 20 minutes a game? They need a point guard like Kyrie or Kemba, or they need a point guard that is going to be able to lead the team and distribute the ball where it needs to be going because what yes.
No, I was saying wow, that's wow what you're saying.
Yes. So this CP3 thing from Houston could be a reality if the Lakers do not get a free agent like Kyrie or Kemba, or maybe they decide to go point guard in the draft because I'm not for sure. Let me look like where they fell into the draft since they traded their number 4 pick. Let me scroll through here real fast.
Yeah, I think they probably don't have a pick till the 2nd round. And if they lost their if they lost their 4th overall pick there, man, I would not give up on Kyle Kuzma though. I think Kyle Kuzma needs to play with Anthony Davis and LeBron James. He's a pretty good talent, Kuzma. I would not want to give him up like that. And if they want to get crazy, throwing Kyle Kuzma and they strike out on Kemba Walker and Kyrie Irving, then I guess you do try to get an old aging CP3 to your program. But man, I wouldn't do that. What I would do, this is me. I wouldn't go after Kemba or Kyrie. Like studying this, I probably would, keep Kyle Kuzma and I'd probably try to bring Jimmy Butler in. I think Jimmy Butler's tenacity and his defense would work better with LeBron James and Anthony Davis. I think that would be then I think that I'd pick the Lakers to win the title if they brought Jimmy Butler in. And then you just got to find a Fred VanVleet somewhere, a Patty Mills. You just got to find a journeyman point guard, Mario Chalmers. You have to find somebody like that because if you sign Jimmy Butler with Anthony Davis and LeBron, you don't need a Kemba Walker anymore. You just need a guy who brings the ball up the court and can stand in the corner and once in a while get the team in their offense, stand in the corner, once in a while hit an occasional 3. So
you're right.
We'll see what happens. Yeah. I'd go after Jimmy Butler, man. If I was LeBron, that dude is not playing around with his teammates. He wants to win, and that's a perfect match. Yeah.
Yeah, and I just scrolled through the draft there, and the LA don't have a pick in this draft. So they trade away their only pick in the draft to get AD. So they kind of have to go after a free agent somewhere in the point guard spot.
Yeah.
So I just don't think CP3 is the guy that puts LA over that edge. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe he's just that unhappy in Houston. Maybe he's just that not in tune in the offense because it's a James Harden show and then 4 other guys on the court. Maybe him going to LA will rejuvenate his career, and we see him like we did with the with LA, 3 or 4 years ago when he was an MVP caliber type of guy.
Right. Listen, they've asked him. They said, "Hey, you unhappy?" And he said, "No, I'm not unhappy." And I would say the same thing, dude. I'm gonna make $40 million, dude. I'm fine. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it'd be like, hey, somebody paying me and you, a few $100,000 a year to do the show, right? And then we're at each other's throats a little bit, and we call each other names, and the boss comes in, hey, y'all good? And we're thinking about our $200,000. We both look at him and say, yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, we're fine, man.
we're good. We're good.
Right.
And then when he leaves, but see that, yeah. So what he said was the right thing. He's fine. But the thing with him is CP3. Chris Paul doesn't like all that dribbling around, standing around, and then somebody take a shot. He wants more movement, more ball movement. He thinks they can win that way. He's probably right.
Yeah, and if you flash back to the games that CP3 was the focal point, and like James Harden, he was on the bench. The Rockets looked like a totally different team when the ball was going through Chris Paul. So, thinking about it more and more and more, kind of doing this like on the fly, I don't think he is a player that puts LA over the edge, but he would be a good fit in LA to get LeBron James the ball, to get AD the ball, and possibly a Kyle Kuzma as well if he's still there.
Right.
If they don't have to trade him to force the Pelicans to wait on this trade.
Right.
So if they are unhappy, they need to do three things here. They need to stop doing State Farm commercials together, because those are the corniest, most stupidest commercials I've ever seen.
Right.
Two, they just need to coexist and get along with each other long enough to win a championship. And three, they need to get Mike D'Antoni out of there. Simple as that.
Yeah.
So
no, I mean, yeah, you're right. I mean, and the ceiling for Houston, if everything clicked next year, the stars aligned, I think they could finally win the West.
Yeah.
But I don't think they would beat Milwaukee. If Milwaukee brings that team back, they wouldn't beat Toronto. If Toronto brings Kawhi Leonard back, and I don't think they'd beat the Sixers. They wouldn't beat either one of those three teams. And I think they'd have a hard time with the Celtics, because I don't think the Celtics is doom and gloom like everybody else does. It's not great, but man, they still have a stockpile of talent, a young talent that got to the Eastern Conference Finals without Gordon Hayward and Kyrie Irving, and all those guys are still there.
But also, Al Horford, he is in free agency now. He decided to not take his $30 million player option.
Right.
Kyrie is no longer there. However, Kyrie wasn't there when they went to the conference championship. He was injured. Same with Hayward. Hayward is possibly on the trading block because he is just not the player that he was when he came to Boston. So you are 100% correct on that issue there. But just I trusted in Danny Ainge for like a while, but since you brought up the AD thing, they had an opportunity to get AD and he passed on it, and now everybody's starting to jump ship. Is this kind of like a Pelican issue where there's in-house issue? Nobody's talking about it. Danny Ainge is still the greatest GM ever. Yada yada yada. But on the inside, you see people starting to jump ship. I wonder what's really going on over there.
Well, Danny Ainge made a huge mistake last summer when the Spurs were offering Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's
right. No, yeah, and Danny Ainge didn't bite. Danny Ainge would be holding up another trophy in the Boston.
Yep.
In the Boston area, they would have already had their parade, and Danny Ainge would have looked like a genius, and Kawhi Leonard would have bolted ship to L.A. right, because there's no way in hell he'd stay with Boston, but he would have brought Boston a title.
Yeah. As
you can see what he did with Toronto. I mean, that's almost a slam dunk. Anybody disagree with that? They're crazy. I mean, all they would have done is.
And if they would have won that title, I bet you Al Horford would have signed his player option. Kyrie would like still be there. Everybody would be happy for at least one more year, and then you build around that core that you have, and you have a great draft too.
All they had to have done was given up Tatum or Brown, and then Rozier in a couple of first rounds, and they still would have been holding the trophy today.
Right. So
they made a mistake last year. Now I understand kind of why they're not going all in on Anthony Davis this year a little bit. I don't think Anthony Davis is as good as Kawhi Leonard, but I mean, it's very doable. But they would have to give up, because Anthony Davis had said he is not signing in Boston.
Right.
Not at all. So basically, they would be giving up a lot of young picks for Anthony Davis for the 1 year and Jaylen Brown. And so I don't think they want to. I don't think Anthony Davis. I mean, I don't think Danny Ainge is going to fool with that one. He should have done the Kawhi thing, but I can see why he's not doing the Anthony Davis thing, because Anthony Davis would be gone after 1 year, and then they'd be left with not much.
Yeah, you're 100% right here. And speaking of not being with much here, we touched on that LA has no draft picks tonight. In the first round happens tonight, and we're going to jump into Marcus's mock draft here, guys. So the number 1 overall pick is obviously going to be Zion, and then number 2 is going to be Ja Morant, and then 3 you have RJ Barrett, right, to the Knicks.
Yeah.
So let's just start at number 4 there. The Pelicans get the number 4 pick from LA. So who's your 4, 5, 6, and 7 picks?
Yeah, the draft tonight starts at 4. The top 3 picks, you could have the draft now, and that would be the order: Zion Williamson, John Morant, and RJ Barrett. The draft starts at 4. It's DeAndre Hunter. I know Darius Garland is a supreme talent. I mean, he could be Dame Lillard and Kyrie Irving reincarnate put together. I mean, that Darius Garland is that talented. So we may look back and go, damn, why did New Orleans take Darius Garland? That could be one of those situations. I understand that. So, but they still have Drew Holiday. Now, if they were going to move Drew Holiday, man, you might want to take Darius Garland here with the 4th pick. But if everything stands pat and Drew Holiday's on the roster and he's okay and he wants to play with Zion, and you want to win, you want to compete now, I would take DeAndre Hunter. You're talking about 6'7", DeAndre Hunter, defensive dynamo out of Virginia, 6'7", 7'2" wingspan or something like that. Plays good at defense. I mean, the guy's a knockdown shooter. The guy in time will learn how to dribble, drive, and do all those things, running the break. Guards all positions. DeAndre Hunter's the real deal, man. Like, he's the real deal. So I would take, if I was New Orleans, I would take DeAndre Hunter. If I got the guarantee from Drew Holiday that I'm going to be fine and I want to play with Zion and everything like that, I would take DeAndre Hunter to fill out my starting 5 there. And then, I don't know, I've heard Julius Randle is not going to opt in and is $9.5 million. So I'd be a little worried about that too, because, man, a lineup with DeAndre Hunter and Julius Randle and Zion up front, that's really good. that's a guard in all the positions, running and gunning and dunking. And that would be exciting. If DeAndre Hunter fills that lane, fills the break, I mean, so at New Orleans, I take DeAndre Hunter. Cleveland, get ready, baby. This isn't going to be a LeBron James pick here, but it's going to be pretty good. I mean, they're going to replace LeBron James with Texas Tech's Jarrett Culver finally. It took a year to get LeBron's replacement in there, but Jarrett Culver, 6'6.5", multi-dimensional with the ball. He reminds me of DeMar DeRozan, but he's a better three-point shooter than DeMar DeRozan. And he's nowhere near LeBron James. I'm not saying that. I'm saying here's your replacement. LeBron's a 10. You replaced him with a 7.5, an 8. It's better than not having no replacement at all. So Jarrett Culver is a hell of a player, offensive player. He's going to get you 15 to 20 points a night. I think his rookie year, he'll average about 15. Jarrett Culver will eventually be a 20 points per game scorer. He won't be LeBron 28 points a game, but that's nice to have there at your off-guard, small forward type player, 6'7", 6'6", getting you 20 points a game. You can't pass that up. So Cleveland takes Jarrett Culver at 5, and here's the stars align for Phoenix here. You needed a point guard here to match with Devin Booker, your great 2 guard, who's maybe the best shooter in the world, besides Stephen Curry and Klay Thompson. But I don't know, Devin Booker can beat those guys in any given day in a 3-point shootout contest. Devin Booker's that good. You give him Darius Garland and maybe the next Dame Lillard or Kyrie Irving, and Phoenix is cooking. Phoenix has got to be on cloud 9. They had DeAndre Ayton with the number 1 pick a couple of years ago. And now to bring in a talent like Darius Garland to go with Booker, Phoenix is going to be fun to watch. And Josh Jackson, at 6'8", their small forward. I think he has some legal trouble, but I don't think that'll affect the season. But that's going to be fun. Phoenix takes Darius Garland with the 6th overall pick.
Okay. Let me go ahead and stop you right there for a second. I've been thinking about this draft, and like I know a mock draft normally doesn't have trades or anything in it just like that. But I've been playing some scenarios in my head, talking with my wife and my brother-in-law, which we're going to have a little draft party tonight, which I'm pretty excited about. And this has been my first time ever watching the draft from start to the end. But these are 3 trades that I would like to see happen before tonight. That's going to shake up the whole landscape of NBA basketball. Put on your pants for this one because I'm going to blow them off. Okay? So you said yesterday or two days ago that you have been hearing that Zion wants to go to New York, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I have down here. So the Pelicans are seeing this. They're like, we want players that want to be here. So they are going to open up their options for that number one trade. The Knicks are they're going to offer them Knox, Smith, and Jordan, and their number three pick and 3 future first round picks for that number one overall pick to get Zion to a night. I think the Knicks are going all in on this season. They are looking to get Kyrie. They're looking to get KD, and why not add Zion to that mix as well? That would be a super team in the making right there, right off the bat. The second trade that I would like to see is the Detroit Pistons. We haven't really been talking about them because they are a lost cause since the 80s and what they won a championship in like 2003 or 2004. Can't remember for sure. But Andre Drummond is a talent kind of being wasted in Detroit, I think. And New Orleans needs a guy just like them. So why don't the Pistons trade Andre Drummond to New Orleans for their number 4 overall pick, and then the Pistons will draft Darius Garland in that number 4 spot. And then the Warriors. So injuries are plagued by the Warriors right now. So they are getting older, 30 plus. So it is time to rebuild. So the Warriors trade Draymond Green to the Celtics for their number 14 and number 22 picks. And then with those picks, though, the Warriors will draft Tyler Hero and PJ Washington from the University of Kentucky. If those three things happen tonight, the world is going to be like, what is going on? What is going on? Michael's right. Because, guys, this makes sense. If you enjoy basketball, if you watch basketball, all these things make sense. And I don't think it's that far of a stretch if that happens.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what? I liked all your trades except the first one. Like the Zion Williamson thing.
Yeah.
He's already responsible, man, for the season tickets thing to go up, and you might have a riot in the streets in New Orleans. I mean,
but look who you're going to get. You were going to get Knox, Smith, and DeAndre Jordan, the number 3 pick this year. So you could get a Cam RJ Barrett, and then 3 future number 1 picks. I mean, like, granted, there'll be probably 14 through 25 range, but right. I mean, and you still get a number 3 overall pick. Yeah.
Listen, on paper, it's not bad. I'm just telling you, the Zion Williamson thing, he's the butts in the seats type thing. Right. I mean, you pretty much, yeah.
But do you think New Orleans would offer a refund for all those season tickets that they sold?
Yeah, and then but hey, that would be funny, right? Draymond Green, because he doesn't get along with Kerr,
right?
And Boston gets him, and I think the money, man, the money doesn't. I mean, Boston would have to give probably like Rozier. No, well, they'd have to find a couple of players, throwaway players, and then I would for Draymond Green, I'd want the entire draft. So you'd have to give me 14, 20, and 22, and then you can have Draymond Green. No, that's a good fit for Draymond Green. Get him over there. Get him over there, Celtics, man. Get him out of there. Get him out of there with the Warriors. That would be funny.
Right. I just after his antics of this year, I mean, like, I'm not saying he's a bad basketball player, but I kind of want the worst possible scenario for him. I want him to end up in, the coldest up north state and win 15 games a year just to see if his antics change. But that's just me being selfish.
Yeah, no, I mean, and listen, Draymond Green's a good basketball player, but man, people get on my nerves, and he gets on my nerves. They'll be like, Toronto beat a undermanned Golden State team, and I'm thinking, Draymond Green makes the All-Star team every year, dude. What happened to him?
Right.
Like and they had Curry, and they had Klay Thompson for 80% of the series. So what? I mean, if Draymond Green was so good, right, they wouldn't have lost all those quarters. They wouldn't have lost. I mean, I just hate that they're such undermanned. Draymond Green's out there getting triple doubles, dude, and they're still losing.
Right.
That's because, and that's no knock on Draymond Green though. That's because Toronto was that badass. You know what I mean? Like, Toronto was that team. They were that good. So, just for people to sit there and say, "Oh, Golden State didn't have anybody." Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. Yeah, Draymond, nobody. Yeah, and then and then Draymond Green, he admitted in the post game, he's saying, well, injuries caught us, but nobody's going to be da da da. I mean, I would have asked him, aren't you a perennial all-star? You couldn't stop Toronto?
Right.
You see what he would tell me. Yeah. What happened to you?
I'm curious.
Yeah,
So
I would have said, I would have told Draymond, they had you and Curry. What happened?
yeah,
You guys aren't that good
what
enough.
happened was they were relying on KD more than they think they
Right.
did. But
Right.
so we ended at number 6 there on the Phoenix. So now we
Right.
have 7, 8, 9, and 10. You have Chicago at 7, Atlanta at 8, Washington Wizards at number 9, and then Atlanta at number 10 as well.
Right.
So who do you got in those spots?
The 7th overall pick, Kobe White out of North Carolina. I think that's a good one pick for Chicago. I mean, but what I love about him is he's not some little point guard. Kobe White's 6'5", man, and so he's fast. He gets up and down the court. He gets people in the right positions. He's a dynamo, dude. Like this is this is what people say. Oh, the draft's not that good this year. Have you watched Kobe White play, man? I mean, really, he's 6'5", and you love him at point guard for your team. Yeah, this guy's the real deal. And his shot is not broken. Once this guy develops a jump shot, man, look out, man. That's a good pick for the Chicago Bulls there. Kobe White, 6'5" out of North Carolina. Here's the fun part. The Atlanta Hawks. I don't know if Atlanta's going to keep all these picks. I think the Knicks turned down. That's how much the Knicks are in love with the R.J. Barrett. Atlanta offered 8 and 10 to move up to 3 to take R.J. Barrett, and the Knicks told him, take a hike. So R.J. Barrett's going to be the 3rd overall pick, but this could get fun. Maybe if you're New Orleans, this has been talked about. Go to picks 8 and 10, and then Atlanta would have the 4th overall pick. That also could be in play. But man, Atlanta right here, I see them taking Cam Reddish. Cam Reddish is 6'8" and can shoot the ball as well as anybody in this draft, and he potentially could be a great player. And if anything else, then, if Cam Reddish, it's tough to take this at number 8, but if he just becomes a role player and one of the best knockdown shooters in the NBA, that's fine too. But I think Cameron Reddish has more talent than that. He's a multi-dimensional player. You didn't always see it with Duke because he's overshadowed by Zion and RJ. I think Cameron Reddish should be a good fit here with the Atlanta Hawks at 8. And then 9, I've been going back and forth on this one. 9 with Washington is Sekou Doumbouya out of France and Africa, Guinea. That's a hell of a pick. I mean, he's the one that I haven't really seen play, but he's 6'9", and he can do whatever he wants to with the basketball. Multi-dimensional, can shoot it, drive it, fills the break. I mean, this guy's a transcendent talent that I hear from some people for Sekou Doumbouya. That could be the 9th pick, or you take Nassar Little from North Carolina.
Yeah.
This guy says he's going to be he wants to be the next Kawhi Leonard. Okay. Well, let's see. He's 6'6.5". Great defender, runs the break really well, shoots it. Nassar Little, you might have to wait on him a little bit. You're not going to get instant greatness with Nassar Little at North Carolina, but he's a draft pick on potential. So that might be a good fit for Washington or Sekou. I don't know if I'd rather have Sekou or Nassar. That's a good one for me. I don't know yet. And then Atlanta picks again, and here you go. You're going to take one of the Gonzaga brothers. Atlanta picks. They have them taking Cameron Reddish, and now they're going to have their pick of Rui Hachimura or Brandon Clark. Also PJ Washington's in play in here with the 10th pick with Atlanta. I mean, you're sitting nice. I've been talking about this for months. You're sitting nice if you're the Atlanta Hawks, man. You have the 8th and 10th pick. You control the draft a little bit here. And then you got to turn around in your Atlanta. You have the 17th pick because you gave up Taurean Prince, which I would not have done. But, hey, they got Allen Crabbe in the deal from the Nets, and Allen Crabbe's a knockdown shooter. So, man, you're surrounding Trae Young. If you get Cam Reddish and you get a defensive player like Brandon Clark here, man, Atlanta will make the playoffs. I'm going to tell you right now with this draft and with that trade they just made. You get Cameron Reddish and Allen Crabbe in that trade from the Nets, and you take Cameron Reddish at pick 8. Trae Young's got options. He's going to lead the league in assists because these guys are not. Then you have Kevin Huerter. I would probably go with Brandon Clark, 6'8". He's probably the best shot blocker pound for pound in this draft in terms of being only 6'8". This guy has timing with the basketball you wouldn't believe. So to pair him down low with Collins for Atlanta. Atlanta's moving in the right direction, and we still got the 17th pick for them. This is Atlanta's the real deal. So I would go ahead and take Brandon Clark with the 10th overall pick if I was Atlanta.
Yeah, the only thing I questioned for you there was throwing PJ Washington's names in that 10th overall pick because I don't think uh, I think with that 17th pick that like the Hawks have, he will still be on the board like at that
Really?
point. Yeah.
Okay, that's possible.
PJ is starting to slide down a little bit.
Yeah.
The one player that has surprised me the most is Romeo Langford from Indiana. He is a
Yeah.
local star here. He went to New Albany High School. I saw him play
Yeah.
3 or 4 games when he played my Floyd Central Highlanders here, and he is a special talent. And
Yes.
earlier in the season, he was a top 3, top 4 pick on
Right.
everybody's mock on everybody's mock draft. So I'm not for sure what happened from February like until June, but now like I see him getting projected as 15th, 16th, all the way down to 20th.
Right.
Where do you have him starting to type
Um,
land?
I got him going 20 to Boston.
Yeah, see, so a 20th overall pick. So you go from a top
Yeah.
5 talent to a 20th overall pick. I will not be surprised if you see him slide up there for the Atlanta Hawks as well. Like if the Hawks take PJ at 10, Romeo should be there at 17 as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a little, I guess,
Yeah.
like
Right.
my vision might be a little shaded because I'm hoping the best for the guy because he is a local talent. I've seen him since he was a sophomore in like high school. So I mean, I hope the best for him, but just for him to slide down from the 5 from a top 5, top 4 pick all the way down to number 20, I really wonder what's happening there.
Yeah, I think that the 27% from 3-point range scared a lot of people off his freshman year.
Right.
They thought he'd be a better shooter than that. But here, you're 100% correct. With the ball in his hands, Romeo Langford is almost as good as anybody in this draft. Like you just say, hey, go get a bucket. Shot clock's winding down.
Right.
You know what I mean? And Romeo can go get that bucket. So can Kevin Porter from USC, left-hander. And there you can get those guys in the teens. That's why this draft's not bad. Yeah, Romeo Langford is as talented as anybody with the ball in his hands. So it wouldn't shock me. I got him going 20, Romeo Langford. Wouldn't shock me at all. Like Boston picked him at 14.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, he went further up. It's a lot of smoke screens right now. So we'll see what happens. Bol is another one.
Yes.
People are talking. Yeah. Hey, I have a prediction tonight. I could be wrong, but everybody's downplaying Bol. Like, he's going to be in the 23rd pick, and it's because all the writers are doing their mock drafts, and all the general managers are saying, his feet, and he's a project, and he's not going to learn quick, and all this other crap. People are throwing bad shade out there at Bol, and so a lot of mocks have Bol like in the 20s, right? Would not shock me at the slightest bit if all of a sudden, the Atlanta Hawks take Bol at 8. It wouldn't shock me at all if Chicago took him at 7.
Right.
Or if Atlanta took him at 10. Bol is 7'2". He's not like his father. His father was just a stream bean, couldn't move, blocked shots, and occasionally hit a 3, which he had the worst shot in history. Bol is a talented player, man. He can switch on those positions. He can shoot threes. He can protect the rim. He's got moves. Those 9 games that he played with Oregon, man, I to be honest, I would have thought, man, he's in contention for the number 1 overall pick. Everybody do yourself a favor tonight and go watch Bol for Oregon in those first 9 games. And you'll think that guy is the number 1, 7'2". What he was doing, he looked like a 6'8" player out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, he's the real deal, man. I would not be shocked if he went in the lottery at all. I've got him down.
I did see him as high as 10. I think it was a Sports Illustrated mock draft, but like you said, most people have him down as 20 and beyond.
Yeah, people are worried about his feet or whatever, like a Yao Ming type thing.
Yeah.
Okay, well, guess what? His feet start going bad at 28 and 29 years old.
Right.
You know how old he is now?
18.
He's 19.
19.
So that means you got him for like 8 years.
Yeah.
Okay, if his feet start going bad, I know that when I draft him. Like, I know the consequences.
Mm-hmm.
So if his feet start going bad at 28 and 29, he's already been with me for 9 years, so I'm good. Like, I'm going to be like, okay, we'll get him treatment. But it wouldn't scare me. Now, if he was 26 already, yeah, I
Right,
wouldn't draft him.
right.
He's 19 years old, so he's going to be, his feet start going bad in 9 years. That's fine. That's what happens with his feet. You know what I'm saying? Like I would already have him in my program for 8-9 years. So that doesn't scare me at all. The bad feet thing, the Yao Ming thing.
Yeah, as a fan, I'm hoping he does fall past the top 15, top 16 picks because Indiana could use him at the 18th overall pick. I would love to see him in a Indiana Pacers jersey.
Oh my God!
Indiana was right there on the cusp. Like this past season, they had a catastrophic injury, and we all thought their season was over at that point. But somehow they managed a 5th seed still. So yes, they got swept by Boston in the playoffs. But you add a Boya and a healthy Indiana Pacers team. Look out! Yeah, they're going to be pretty solid.
Oh my God! If Bol goes to Indiana, and you pair him with Sabonis, 6'11" Sabonis,
right,
and Myles Turner, I mean, wow, dude, Indiana should be up there easily now in the top 4. And I'm not joking, man. That's intimidating
San
to watch.
Antonio Spurs from back in the day.
Yeah, that's intimidating. To be honest, that's intimidating to watch. If your front line is Sabonis, Myles Turner, and Bol. I don't see how, I almost don't see how you lose. You know what I mean? Like, the rim should be very well protected, and the scoring buckets in transition with those 3 players, they're all 6'11" and 7'2". I mean, you're not gonna throw it in the post. Yeah, I mean, it would be ridiculous. Yeah, they would own the paint.
It would be exciting to watch, and
it would be exciting to watch, and they're all interchangeable.
Yeah, like I was actually just talking to my wife right before our show started, and we don't have any NBA jerseys in the whole house. So if Indiana drafts him tonight, that's the first thing I'm going to go buy, a Boya jersey.
But what's funny though is whoever the 18th pick is, I'd go buy that jersey because you're talking about it could be a Kabengele. A Kabengele.
Yeah.
From Florida State, he's 6'10", and he's a pick it could be for the Spurs at number 19. And Bruno Fernando also from Maryland. He's also 6'10", 6'11". And you put Kabengele down there from Florida State with Sabonis, or you put Bruno Fernando down there with Myles Turner. You have a formidable front line. I would buy any of those jerseys if I was an Indiana fan.
So you think Indiana is going big in the draft? They're going for a center power forward type of guy?
I have them taking Bruno Fernando right now with Maryland, with the 18th overall selection. But if Bol's there, I would take him. I mean, that's possible. Like I said, I also like Kabengele, African kid played at Florida State, 6'10", runs the floor like a deer, dude. Him and Myles Turner on the break. If I'm Collison and I'm driving, if I'm Oladipo and I got Kabengele on my right and Turner on my left, dude, it's just you're gonna get dunked on.
Buckets.
I'm running the break and
buckets.
I'm throwing it to one of those guys and they're gonna dunk on you.
So we've hit your 1 through 10 here. So let's go ahead and go through your 10 through 20 here. Just let's have them.
Well, yeah. We'll do 11. I did Atlanta. Minnesota. I got them taking Rui Hachimura from Gonzaga. To me, man, Andrew Wiggins is a bum. Golly, man, I really. And I don't say that really, I don't take any pride in saying that, or I'm not happy about saying.
KU players do not prosper in the NBA. They've had 2, maybe 3 guys worth anything in the NBA. One being Paul Pierce. Anybody else that's been big at Kansas, well, where are they now? They had 3 years, 4 years in the league, and they're gone.
What makes me mad about Wiggins is he's got all the talent in the world. I mean, 6'8", can jump, shoot it. I mean, dude, $100 million contract. The owner's putting pressure on Wiggins. Hey, let's go, man. You're going to perform. And then he gets to the biggest stage, 14 points, 5 rebounds.
Kyle Lowry syndrome.
Anyways, yeah. So Rui Hachimura, he needs to help Andrew Wiggins. So I got him at 11 to Minnesota. Charlotte, Jackson Hayes, 6'11", wingspan like 7'3" out of UT. He will be the shot blocker for your Charlotte team there. Michael Jordan will be happy with that pick, although Michael Jordan didn't have the greatest track records of picks, but this one will be a good one for him. Guy runs the floor. He's a bigger version of Clint Capella, Jackson Hayes, and so I think Michael Jordan will like that pick there in Charlotte. Miami. Here's where if Sekou Doumbouya doesn't go to 9 to Washington, He'll slide down to Miami, and it's a perfect fit for Pat Riley. This guy is 6'9", can do everything with the basketball. This is a perfect fit here. They'll do backflips, in my opinion, if they take Sekou Doumbouya at the 13th overall pick here, Miami Heat. 14th overall pick, Boston. This is where P.J. Washington comes into play, and he's going to replace Al Horford, and he's not as tall as Al Horford. He's PJ's what 6'7.5", 6'8". Al Horford was 6'9". But here's your replacement for Al Horford right now. You just go a little bit more small ball here. You can throw it to PJ in the post. He will score. PJ will defend, and PJ can hit threes. PJ Washington, he will run the floor like Al Horford. So here's there would be my replacement right now, Boston, PJ Washington for Al Horford.
That's a great pick there.
Detroit, you just touched on them a little while ago about the trade. I see them taking Tyler Hero. Now, Boston at 14 was also in play for Tyler Hero, so that could be something too. If they don't take PJ Washington, they'll take Tyler Hero with the Celtics with the 14th pick. But if Boston takes PJ Washington, Detroit Pistons are not going to pass up on the better athletic version of J.J. Redick, and that's Tyler Hero. Orlando, I have them taking Nikhil Alexander from Vatek, the first cousin of Gidris Alexander, who went to the Clippers, I think the 12th or 13th overall selection last year. And Nikhil Alexander is a heck of a player. He's like his cousin. These guys 6'5" can multi-dimensional. I usually word that word a lot, but that's the way these kids are today. The 6'5", 6'6", all the way to 6'9" kids. These guys grow up in the playgrounds, and they're not just pigeonholed to one thing. These guys are doing everything with the basketball. Everybody wants to be LeBron and Kobe, and they're doing. And Nikhil Alexander is in that mold there. It's a really good talent there. Ambidextrous too. Nikhil, I've watched the highlights. Left hand, right hand, doesn't matter. If you want him going left, he'll do left hand layup. Going right, he'll do right hand layup. It doesn't matter. He'll pull up on you. I like the pick there. Nikhil Alexander for Orlando. Atlanta Hawks. This is fun here. Now they're their third selection already in the first round. Keldon Johnson, Kentucky. So man, picture that right there. Atlanta Hawks, man. That's why I said I want to be the Atlanta Hawks general manager. I mean, this guy's got 3 picks in this draft, and he's already knocked it out of the park last year with Trae Young and Kevin Huerter. And man, this is amazing. Atlanta Hawks. I really do. They will be in the playoffs next year. So I got Atlanta taking Keldon Johnson, 6'6" out of Kentucky, hell of a player. Indiana, here's your Indiana. I got him taking Bruno Fernando from Maryland, or you can take Bol Bol. Either one is fine with me. I mean, I got a little bit worried on the draft thing, Bol Bol sliding down. So I went ahead and put Bruno Fernando in my mock. But, man, I mean, I don't know. If I was the GM, I would take Bol Bol right there, to be honest, over Bruno Fernando. I think I'm getting more of an upside. I haven't said that word either, upside, but that's the truth.
Right.
But Bruno Fernando is ready to come in and play now. 6'10", he can play next to Myles Turner, and he's the defense. Myles Turner gets beat by his man, or Sabonis gets beat by his man. You run into Bruno Fernando, and he will block the shot. So will Kabengele out of Florida State. Both those players are interchangeable. So Indiana, I got him taking Bruno Fernando. The San Antonio Spurs up, I probably would look at Bol Bol as well. If he's still slipping this far, I would take Bol Bol, but I don't know if they'll do that. I got KZ Okpala from Stanford, 6'8", and he's one of those ones that's 6'8" and can guard all the positions, kind of like a DeAndre Hunter. But KZ Okpala is not as good as defender as DeAndre Hunter, but he's a better offensive player than DeAndre Hunter. Spurs would do backflips with this pick at the 19th overall selection. KZ Okpala from Stanford would fit perfect. 6'8", 6'9". Man, this would be awesome. And once they develop his offensive skills in San Antonio, look out. You've got a heck of a player for the future there. And then the last pick here, the 20th pick, Boston Celtics, Romeo Langford. We just touched on him. But in Bol Bol, I have Bol Bol going 21st to OKC. That's probably not going to happen. I expect Bol Bol to go in the lottery now. I think it's all been like a smokescreen, to put bad information about Bol Bol. Even with the bad feet, you're going to get 9 years out of him. So if I was Boston, I probably would take Bol Bol as well if he was there. I mean, but if they don't, Romeo Langford for the Celtics, really good pick there. So the Celtics come away great too, because they got the 14th, 20th, and 22nd. It's not as good as the Atlanta Hawks, having 8, 10, and 17. But man, the Celtics draft, this is the rebuilding year for them, for the Celtics. And so Romeo Langford at 20th overall to the Celtics sounds pretty good.
Yeah. The only thing I question about your 10 picks there is the number 17 for the Atlanta Hawks. You had Keldon Johnson going there, and watching Keldon Johnson a lot this season because I'm a Kentucky fan, even though I'm got Kansas State all over my body because that's my team.
Right.
But Kentucky, I'm a blue blood by marriage,
Right.
so I got to support my wife. But Keldon Johnson does better when the ball is in his hands. So so does Trey Young. Trey Young needs the ball in his hands as well. We saw it when Keldon played with Kentucky. He averaged 20 plus points when the ball was like when he was the focal point of the offense there. So
right.
As he is a top 2015 talent,
right.
I don't think the Hawks are a good pick for him. I like Brandon Clark going to the Hawks. I think they need a little bit more size down low. And if they think Keldon Johnson is their guy, they could work with that 17 pick and maybe move down a tad bit out of that top 20 because I think Keldon Johnson would still be there because people are sleeping on him just like they are doing Romeo Langford just as well. Because the offense that he played in didn't really suit his style of play all that much.
There's a lot of players in this draft like Keldon Johnson and Nikhil Alexander and Romeo Langford that do well with the ball in their hands. It's just like what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But what they can do though is they can run second units. So all the three players I just mentioned, let's just say, you walk up to Keldon Johnson and say, hey, I know that, you do well with the ball in your hands. What's going to happen is as soon as Trey Young goes out, you're going to win Sixth Man of the Year. You can come in and you're going to run the second unit. And so you either have Keldon Johnson with the ball in his hands or you have Trey Young with the ball in his hands. So I understand what you're saying, but you get the best talent that you can get in the draft. And Keldon Johnson is that talented. So,
yeah,
I mean, he like Jamal Crawford, he can run the second unit. Manu Ginobili ran the second unit.
Yeah, the one thing I would be pitching for Atlanta if you are going that 6-man route, look at James Harden. Look what he did for OKC for those 3 or 4 years that he was there, and now he's $100 million man down there at Oklahoma. So learn your role, play your role. I'm talking to Keldon Johnson right now. If you are going to go to the Hawks, the Hawks need to sit down and talk to him like, hey, you are going to be our sixth man. You will be in here in the fourth quarter. Yada yada yada. Just know your role. And I think Keldon is a smart enough kid and a IQ basketball kid that he will understand that coming into Atlanta. So that is a great point there. I did not think of that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of talent in this draft, Michael, that can run second units that need the ball, like Romeo Langford, Keldon Johnson. Ty Jerome. We haven't got to him yet, but he can run your second unit. The combo guard, Nikhil Alexander. There's a bunch of those players in this draft that you can give the ball to, and they run your second unit, and they'll be great picks. They may not be all-stars or anything like that, but they'll be solid contributors. Big time.
Everybody can't be all-stars. It is all about learning your role and how you fit the team the best. So you've already gave us your 21 pick in Bo there. So what is your 22 through 30?
Yeah, 21 I had Bo. 22 Boston taking Mafanu Kabengele, 6'10" out of Florida State. That would really replace Al Horford. The Al Horford thing, he's 31 years old. I don't think that's that big of a deal to the Celtics. I'm be honest with you. Al Horford needs to go to a team where he's the missing piece, like to the Lakers.
Yeah.
Really, I think LeBron would love Al Horford too.
I think that would be a great pick because the Lakers are built to win right now, and Al Horford has 2 years left in him, maybe.
Right. So Boston taking Kabengele, 6'10", 240 pounds out of Florida State, can run the floor like a deer, dunk on you, block shots, post up. Man, here's a good one for Memphis. Kevin Porter, left-handed.
There you go.
Memphis now has the 23rd overall pick. They're going to take John Morant. Man, if I come out of this draft with a backcourt of John Morant and Kevin Porter, look out. That's scary. I'm not even joking. Kevin Porter is multi-dimensional, multi-talented. He's another one that could run your second unit. If you decide that maybe he and John Morant are too ball dominant, you can go ahead and you can stick another two guard in there if you want for Memphis, and then you can have Kevin Porter run your second unit. But them starting together, Kevin Porter 6'5", 6'6" out of USC, the lefty, he's very hard to guard. Go look at YouTube at his highlights, man. He's the real deal. So if you can get the 23rd overall pick, Kevin Porter, to go with John Morant, that's Memphis now has this pick. That's a heck of a place. Philadelphia, I have them taking Ty Jerome. He's going to replace J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick, that's another good one for the Lakers. LeBron James needs spot-up shooters. I know we're putting a lot of people at the Lakers, but, hey, when you got Anthony Davis and LeBron James, if you're a veteran like a Al Horford, Kyrie Irving type or J.J. Redick type, why not go to the Lakers, man? That's a good place for you. So Philadelphia 76ers taking Ty Jerome, 6'5.5", combo guard. Can't jump higher than you or me, but we don't need him to. We need him to dribble, drive, penetrate, and hit open shots and get people. He's a really good player out of Virginia. So Ty Jerome. Portland, I have them taking Isaiah Roby. Isaiah Roby to me was the best player in the Chicago draft. I mean, he's shined the most. 6'8", can guard multiple positions like a KZ Okpala. And he has great offense. He's really good offensively. I watched that kid blossom at the Chicago camp. I didn't know he had that in him. You can post him up. He guards all positions. He hits threes. Isaiah Roby has moved up the draft board big time. Cleveland, this will be their second pick. And I got him taking Goga Bitadze. He's one of the few ones I haven't watched play either, but he's 6'11". I hear he's a Enes Kanter, but can block shots. So, hey, if you can get that, with the Cleveland Cavaliers at the 26th selection, I don't know, the Spurs might take him at 19 from what I'm hearing as well. Enes Kanter type that can block shots. That sounds really well because Enes Kanter is a heck of a player, but he's not a great defensive player. So if Goga Bitadze can play like Enes Kanter and block shots, you've got yourself a player there at 26 for Cleveland. Brooklyn, I have them taking Daniel Gafford, or it could be Luka Samanic. Who also did a heck of a job here, from Croatia. He did a heck of a job at the Chicago camp as well. He turned some eyes. He's not Luka Doncic. He's Luka Samanic. He's a 6'11" post. He reminds me of Sabonis from Indiana. So if you don't, I have Brooklyn taking Daniel Gafford there to help James Allen in the post. But if you like Luka Samanic better than Gafford, I have Daniel Gafford 6'10" out of Arkansas. Either one of those players would do well for the Brooklyn Nets there, because Allen, like I just mentioned, James Allen from UT needs some help down in the post, and Gafford or Luka Samanic would really help out there at Brooklyn. Golden State, I have them taking, and this is, God, they're going to steal my thunder here because I want this kid for the 29th pick, but I think Golden State takes Dylan Windler, 6'8", 6'7", out of Belmont. Man, he's a kid, comes off screens. He would fit perfect in that offense with Golden State. Man, backdoor layups. I mean, and then plus he can create himself, almost like a poor man's Klay Thompson. He reminds me of Joe Ingles a little bit from Utah, but Dylan Windler's a much better dribbler than Ingles. So, man, Dylan Windler with the 28th selection for the Golden State Warriors. I'm hoping it doesn't happen because I want him to slide to 29 to San Antonio. But, man, Golden State would do themselves a big favor by taking Dylan Windler out of Belmont there, 6'7", small forward, two guard that can shoot lights out. Spurs, San Antonio selection, and this is a good pick. I mean, I'd rather have Dylan Windler, but the 29th selection, I have the Spurs taking Cameron Johnson out of North Carolina. Cameron Johnson can shoot the basketball as well as anybody in the draft, and that includes Dylan Windler and Cameron Reddish, or anybody that was picked ahead. Includes Ty Jerome. Cameron Johnson at 6'8" out of North Carolina. At 29th overall selection, and that's the pick that the Spurs got for Kawhi Leonard. Never going to be an all-star, but, man, he could be the Peja Stojakovic, Hedo Turkoglu type player, Cameron Johnson of North Carolina. The guy shoots lights out. You stick him in that corner, 6'8", and the Spurs ball movement, or DeJounte Murray dribble drive, Lonnie Walker dribble drive, kick it out to Cameron Johnson. It's money. And Cameron Johnson, in turn, in time, will develop. He won't just be a catch and shoot player. He's 22 years old. He's going to develop he's going to develop a dribble drive game. I mean, it's not that terrible. It's not broken. That's what you learn. You work on your craft as a shooter, but you also got to pick your spots and know when to drive. And Cameron Johnson can do that. I don't want to just label him as some just stand there guy, but that's what he does well. And so San Antonio with the 29th selection, taking Cameron Johnson, 6'8", out of North Carolina. One of the if not the best shooter in the draft, one of the best shooters in the draft. And finally, Milwaukee. They have a bunch of free agents. And so this pick was a late insertion at the 30th selection. I like Matisse Thybulle. It's funny. I've heard announcers say his last name is Tabuli, but I've also heard Thybulle. But he's 6'5" out of Washington, and he's maybe the best defender in this draft. I mean, he's one of those Danny Green types, block shots, rebounds. With the 30th selection for the Milwaukee Bucks, Matisse Thybulle, 6'5", 6'6". He's a spitting image of Danny Green, but I think he's going to be better offensively than Danny Green. So he's got to work on his offense, and he can stand there and shoot the ball as well as Danny Green. And if he can develop a better dribble drive to the goal than Danny Green, that is a great selection for anybody. Kid out of Washington, Matisse Thybulle out of Washington, 6'5", 6'6". I've heard the Spurs might take him at 29. To get another Bruce Bowen in there.
Right.
So that's also in play there.
Just to add a little bit there, the Detroit Pistons actually acquired the 30th pick late last night from the Bucks. Did. So I didn't even see that. That's awesome. Yeah. It was like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. They are basically unloaded Tony Snell's long-term contract for that 30th pick. So
Milwaukee got Tony Snell.
Yes.
Yeah, Tony Snell was a high school teammate of Kawhi Leonard, and what Tony Snell does well is he shoots the basketball.
Right.
That's pretty much all he does.
That's what the Detroit Pistons need, is a shooter. So.
Right, but they lost Jody Meeks a few years ago out of Kentucky. I don't know if you remember Jody Meeks, but Jody Meeks was a knockdown shooter. Tony Snell does that, and I don't know if they're gonna, what do you call it? There's just amnesty him, or how do there's when they get him, they waive him, and then Tony Snell's free to sign wherever. But Tony Snell's a good shooter. Like I said, a high school teammate of Kawhi Leonard. He's rode the bench the last year, which is kind of weird. He couldn't get off the bench there. Or I only saw him on spot duty. I thought he'd develop into a better player than that. But what Tony Snell can do for Milwaukee is shoot the basketball. So now Detroit has that pick. Wow, see, that's not bad. Detroit has the 30th overall selection. Then you can go a bunch of different ways there. I mean, you still could draft Matisse Thybulle. I mean, that's possible.
Right.
Isaiah Tucker Thornton's another one out there. He's from Iowa State. Detroit could get him. He could run your second unit. He's another one. Tucker Thornton out there from Iowa State, 6'4". They say he's a shorter version of Draymond Green. So, and he's another one that he can run after if Reggie Jackson sits down. Tucker Thornton can, if he's there with the 30th selection for Detroit, he can run your second unit. There's a bunch of guys in this draft that need the ball in their hands, like a Keldon Johnson, that can run the second units, and he's another one. So, wow, Detroit's got the 15th and the 30th selection. Not bad.
Yeah, I would almost try to pair those picks and try to move up maybe to a 10th pick. Maybe trade with the Hawks or something to that effect. Right. But in this section of draft, I have 3 picks that are circled. I have the number 23 pick, the 26th pick, and the number 29th pick, your San Antonio Spurs, circled that these are key picks for these teams. And I think Kevin Porter is going to go number 26 to the Cavs, I believe it is. And Keldon Johnson, he is a wild card here. I think him and Kevin Porter are almost the exact same player inside and out. I think Kevin Porter has a little bit more upside currently, so he is so he is better currently. But I think Keldon Johnson in the long run will be better, and I would love to see Keldon Johnson on your San Antonio Spurs. I think Pop could mold him into a Kawhi Leonard type of guy. He shows up, he does his work, he's humbled, he doesn't get upset, if he's not getting the ball. He is a workload. And I would love to see Kawhi Leonard on your San Antonio Spurs.
Hey, you hit the nail on the head there. I mean, we've got a lot of guards. I don't think they're going guard.
Right.
But if Keldon Johnson, if they identified Keldon Johnson as being what you think he can be and what I think he can be, you just take the best talent. It doesn't matter if you're hard hit. And Keldon Johnson is 6'6", can play small forward in this small ball era where it's positionless basketball. You
can
Kentucky,
run 3. He actually played 4 when PJ Washington got hurt in in mid-year, he was our starting
Yes.
four guard or our four guy.
Yes.
So
Yeah. No.
he is
Keldon Johnson.
interchangeable.
Yes. It wouldn't shock me at all if the Spurs took him at 19.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
He's that good. Yeah. I mean,
like I really don't see him sliding down to 29. So like that's why I kind of had that circled.
Right.
But if Keldon Johnson is at 23, 26, or 29, and Kevin Porter is available at 23, 26, and 29 as well,
right.
Those guys are going to go to those teams. Now, I think Kevin Porter will go first, and then Keldon Johnson. But if I am picking the team, I'm going to pick Keldon Johnson over Kevin Porter because Keldon Johnson did it in a tougher conference. I think the SEC is a little bit more tougher than the Pac-12 over there on the West Coast and USC. So he will have a what's it called, the badge of honor, I guess. Like he's been in the SEC and historically UK players have done well in the professionals. So Coach Cal is doing great things there. Shout out to him. So your San Antonio Spurs, they have 2 picks in the first round tonight. If you were a Spurs coach GM, would you try to package those 2 picks and move up, or are you happy with your 19 and 29 pick?
I'm happy with the 19 and 29 pick, but that doesn't mean I don't want to move up. I mean, if I don't have any takers, I'll stand pat. I'm fine.
Where would you want to move up to?
I'd move up with. I 10? Think the way the math works, I don't think if you can get it to 10, you can get to Boston at 14. You might can get to 10, but I think Boston at 14 is ideal because they have a bunch of picks. And let's just say the guy that Boston won is not there. Let's just say Miami Heat take the guy that Boston wants, and so they go, damn, our guy's gone. So they move back and take 19 and 29, and the Spurs have the 14th overall selection. That's possible. Man, if Cameron Reddish is there, I mean, if he falls, the Spurs worked him out, and Cameron Reddish, give you a little tidbit here. He was the only player the Spurs, or he was the only player. Cameron Reddish talked to every lottery team, and the only non-lottery team he talked to was the Spurs.
And that tells you
so that's a little,
yeah.
I mean, so I think they might, Cameron Reddish is a knockdown shooter and multidimensional with the basketball. He couldn't show all his talents with Duke, but yeah, if the Spurs can move up to 8 or 9 or 10 and get Cameron Reddish, that's a very successful draft. So we'll see what happens, and. But I'm also hearing Bruno Fernando there at the 19th pick. I have Bruno Fernando could be in play at Indiana at 18. And with the 19th pick, Bruno Fernando, his coach Mark Turgeon at Maryland played for R.C. Buford. So R.C. Buford and the Spurs coaching staff knows everything you need to know about Bruno Fernando. Okay, so what that tells you 2 things. That tells you is if the Spurs take Bruno Fernando at 19, they're sold. They know all about the kid and they want him. He's a shot blocker, runs the floor, heck of a center. And so if the Spurs take him at 19, they're sold. But here's what's funny: if the Spurs pass on him at 19, since they know that player so well, the red flag might, hey, wonder why they didn't take Bruno Fernando. What's wrong with him? They know everything about him. So that's kind of bad for Bruno as well if the Spurs pass on him. And it's like what's wrong with him? The Spurs didn't take him, and they're big deprived. They need bigs. And they passed on Bruno Fernando, and they know the player so well. So we'll see what happens, man. It's exciting. This is ultimate reality TV tonight. This is the real deal. You have 19, 20-year-olds about to become millionaires. And then it helps your team, whatever team you root for. Hopefully they have a first-round pick. Not like Houston. They don't have any picks, or the Lakers. I'm very happy about that. Lakers and Houston don't have any picks. Thank you. Get the hell out of here. But, yeah, this is big-time stuff. Ultimate reality TV. I'm glued to the set. I can't wait to watch. It's funny to watch. It's great to watch the moms, and they start crying, and the kids, the dad and the uncle, and, the uncle starts crying, and he's saying, I'm rich. I can go buy a casino. Yeah. So
yeah, and you start getting these aunts and uncles and cousins that you never heard of, and all that good stuff. But
it's gonna have 140 missed calls.
Right.
Hey man, remember that $50 you owe me? Yeah, it's 5,000 now. Yeah,
interest. But I'm glad you brought up the teams that do not have draft picks, i.e. Houston and LA. We talked about CP3 possibly being no longer in Houston. Do you see LA or Houston trying to get into this draft? And if you do, how do you think they're going to get into the draft? Are they trading CP3? Are they trading Kuzma? What are your thoughts on that?
No, you don't trade any big time value like that because the draft's a crapshoot. I mean, even though we talk good about these kids, Keldon Johnson, Nikhil Alexander, Porter,
Everybody has upside.
They're not for sure things. I mean, I see them if there's a player that they like, and especially an international player, I could see Lakers or Houston moving in the second round to get a player. But they're gonna have, Houston would have to give up. Listen, it's possible if some people think they're a player away, Houston could give up PJ Tucker or something, move in the first round or something like that. I mean, but I don't see that happening. I don't see anybody winning. PJ Tucker, who's like 30 or whatever, not for a young kid. They'd rather have the young kid. But no, I mean, the Lakers or Houston could get in that second round if they target a player that they possibly could put away and help their program in years to come. That's possible. But I don't see it. I don't see why. I don't know why you get in the second round. But yeah, no, it's possible if they want to get in. I don't think they can get in the first round, Houston or LA. No, they're done with that.
Right. Yeah, and LA's done for the first round for the next 3 years. So shout out to them for pissing away their future there.
Yeah, and if they don't win this title, if they don't win this championship in a couple of years,
who is to blame at that point if they don't win a title with AD trade? Do you blame LeBron? Do you blame Ginny Buss? Do you blame their brand new coach that they just hired, or like?
Oh my God, yeah, Ginny Buss and oh God, Rob Pelinka, yeah, they all just should be. Sell the team, fired, all that stuff.
They should sell the team and move to Germany and never be heard of again. At that point. But guys, that's going to be it for today. Draft does start tonight on ESPN. I believe it's 8:00 is when it does start. If I'm not 100% sure on that.
7.
There you go.
I think 7. Yeah.
7:00. So it's just like Marcus is saying, guys. It is the ultimate reality TV. I'm going to my first ever NBA draft party. Pretty excited about it. I hope my Kentucky Wildcats do well. I hope some Kansas State Wildcats. You guys, you're sleeping on Dean Wade. Dean Wade is a talent, y'all. Get him in the NBA. That's on, funny. Man. But that'll be it for today. Any closing thoughts, Marcus?
No, just can't wait for this draft, and we'll see you guys tomorrow.
All right, guys. Same time, same place. Like, comment, subscribe. iHeartRadio, iTunes, YouTube, all the good stuff. We'll see you tomorrow. We out.